just quickly on this, what keeps us effective? Well, just some thoughts around this. And again, it's a little list I have in my Bible that I like to go to regularly and just make sure, because I want to be effective. I'm sure you do. I know we're talking about courage here, but I don't want to just be courageous. I want to be effective, and that's why we need courage to be more effective. And so what keeps us effective? Well, obviously, first and foremost, it's the presence of God. He guarantees our success. And so again, we don't want to attempt anything without His presence, and we want to understand the presence of God and walk in His presence. That's what keeps us effective. He guarantees our success. What keeps us effective in ministry is prayer, personal prayer, disciplined, I believe, daily. I'm not saying by law because we have to, but we understand these disciplines are in place because prayer helps us be effective, and we want to do it daily. Sustain prayer and fasting, whatever that means for you. But I do want to say we can't skip over these things and think we can be courageous and effective if we're not praying and regularly getting together with God and communing with God and connecting with God, and even fasting as a lifestyle, not an occasion. I believe passion, our hunger for God and for the things of God keeps us effective. Are you still hungry for God and for the things of God? Not just what God can give you, the things God's called us to. Do they still motivate you? Do you still hunger for that? Because that, I believe, keeps us effective, which will help us be courageous in what He's called us to. Praise and worship. Be personal praises always. And regardless of if you can sing or not, whatever your voice sounds like, or whether you can play an instrument. Honestly, I can't play an instrument. I wish I could. My middle son plays guitar. I wish I could play like him. But at the end of the day, I'm a worshiper because I love Jesus, and I realize that effectiveness comes from personal praising, not just putting on someone else's song. Sing your song to God, because I do believe that's where if we're personal, not corporate praises, personal praises, we'll be effective. Power, God's power and authority and anointing, I do believe also keeps us effective. His prophetic promises. What do we do with what God said? I do think it's a season to get back to some of that. Paul commanded Timothy to go read through and intercede over the prophetic words that have been spoken of our lives. Not because we're reminding God, because we're reminding ourselves of what God's spoken over us. Prophetic promises keep us effective. The purity, living a life of truth with our desires and our motives and our relationships, pure in all those things. Our perceptions of ourselves are helpful too. And again, this is helpful, I think, even when I'm talking about being a courageous people. That we have to understand, friends, that perception of ourselves is important. How we see ourselves. Some of us see ourselves as really awesome. Others of us see ourselves as really bad. And they're both bad. They're both dangerous. We need an honest perception of ourselves. And I think the more we can understand who we are, it comes from the revelation of who Jesus is. We've got to have an honest perception of what is important, not just to us, but to God. A lot of guys are busy with a lot of things they feel is important. And again, friends, we're talking about courage here. And we're saying about taking the regions and taking the nations and taking cities and being courageous and being on His being on His side, doing what He's called us to. Well, then the question is, what is important to us? No, what's important to Him? And are those things important to us? We've got to get our value systems back and our priorities right, that what we're giving ourselves to is what God says is important. What is God doing right now? Or are we on what God's doing, or are we on our thing and hoping God's in it? And our perception of others. Again, another great truth. How we see others is going to help us be more effective.